Have you ever heard of Pagri Tenancy? If you've lived in cities like Mumbai, you probably have. But did you know that for decades, the way Pagri premises changed hands was totally off the books? Let me break it down for you, point by point, so you can see why this matters and what's changed since 1999. First, before 1999, here's how a typical Pagri transfer worked. Imagine you want to buy a Pagri flat worth Rs 60 lakhs. You pay all Rs 60 lakhs directly to the outgoing tenant, the seller. The seller then pays the landlord Rs 15 to Rs 20 lakhs as transfer charges. In exchange, the landlord simply swaps the seller's name for your name on the rent receipt. That's it. No formal registration, no sale deed, not even a registered tenancy agreement. The only proof you got was a rent receipt and maybe an attornment letter, if you were lucky. And it wasn't just new buyers. Even old tenants living there for decades only had rent receipts as legal proof. So, even though these deals involved crores, there was no official record of the money changing hands. It all looked like tenants were just being replaced, when in fact, property rights were being handed over with the landlord's blessing and a big chunk of cash. Here's the problem. Courts and judges pretended these realities didn't exist. That led to unfair evictions and years of court battles for tenants just because the system refused to recognize what was really happening. But then came the Maharashtra Rent Control Act of 1999. Now, things were supposed to change, at least on paper. Section 55 made it mandatory to register all tenancy agreements for Pagri premises. No more backdoor deals. Everything had to be on official record, with penalties for breaking the rules. Section 56 went one step further. Tenants got a legal right to compensation when they sold their tenancy. Landlords got a legal right to transfer charges. So now, if you want to buy a Pagri flat, here's how it's supposed to work. You pay Rs 60 lakhs to the outgoing tenant. The seller pays Rs 15-20 lakhs to the landlord. But here's the kicker. It's all written down in a tripartite agreement with the landlord, the seller, and you, the buyer. This agreement must be registered, and every rupee exchanged is recorded. The goal? Simple transparency, legal protection, and an end to arbitrary evictions. But in reality, even with these laws, many courts and lawyers still ignore sections 55 and 56. As a result, thousands of Pagri tenants get dragged into unfair cases, and some even lose their homes without proper compensation. So if you're involved with Pagri property, know your rights. Insist on proper registration. Demand legal recognition for your money. Because when it comes to your home, paperwork isn't just paperwork, it's your shield. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, share it and let's spread some legal clarity.